Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, all praises and ring glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone who taught us the truth and who rule well. Peace and love, salutation and mercy be unto the hopeful elect. Back again with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying unto you hopeful elect, you Akim and few Akwathium that subscribe, believe in the truth, that believe in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai with your whole heart, your whole mind, body, and spirit, and who are waiting for these last and final prophecies to happen in the earth in the return of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai, who's coming to redeem the elect of the nation of Israel only, which the nation of Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that are in North, Central, and South America and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. We are the true Hebrew Israelites, and we are watching prophecy play out right before our very eyes. Most Russian exports have now kicked reliance on US dollar as payment currency. And what we're seeing is most of these nations in the world are turning against the whore. And these same nations that were made rich and wealthy are off of you by way of doing trading are going to be the ones that turn against you in war against you in World War III and use intercontinental ballistic missiles against you, such as this country, which is Russia, which in the biblical prophecy, they're known under a few different names. One is the Medes, and the other is Gog and Magog. So whenever you read, certain prophecies and it mentions the Medes, destroying Babylon, well, that's speaking about the Russians and their role that they're going to play, within the destruction upon this place, which is spiritually known as Babylon. It's also, the capital of the Roman Empire. A lot of nations, did get wealthy off doing business with this place. But now these nations are starting to turn against this particular country because of their foreign policies, their foreign democracy, their way of life and their sanctions, and the way that they go about handling themselves, in regards to, sanctions and tariffs, when they don't get their way. And ultimately, these nations, they don't want to deal with this particular way of life anymore. So they'll rather, dismiss this country, and not deal with it. But they're still dependent upon it, because the dollar is the world reserve currency, and it still holds power, although it's losing its power daily. So these nations still have to deal with this place in a sense, but they're slowly weaning themselves off of that Babylonian juice. This strong liquor, this strong wine, that they were that they have drunk of. Revelation 18:3, it says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." So they were shipping their goods here. But in order to ship their goods here and to be sold, they had to drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now the word for delicacies, is excessive strength, which longs to break forth, over strength, luxury, eager desire. And there was another word that I wanted to look up as well. The word wax rich, to be rich, to have abundance of outward possession, metaphor, to be richly supplied, is affluent in resources so that he can give blessings of salvation to all. So these nations, would adopt the foreign democracies, the way of life, the philosophy, the belief systems and the way of dress. They would conform themselves to the image of the beast, just to be able to do business, All right, they would accept the ways of the of life, of the whore, just to be able to please her, so that they can ship their exports to this country and receive the dollar and use the dollar to purchase oil, purchase any natural oil or gas that they would need to purchase. All right, in which they need that to grow their economy. But now they're at the point where they no longer care about money anymore. They no longer care about sending their goods here to this country to become rich and exporting their goods to this country to become rich. All right, their attitude towards this place is that they're mad. All right, they're angry. The book of Revelations, the 11th chapter, in the 18th verse, it says that the nations were angry and the wrath has come, all right, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and unto the saints, and unto them that fear thy name small and great, and shouldest destroy them, all right, which destroy the earth. So it said that the nations are angry. All right, these nations are tired of being bullied. They're tired of having their livelihoods played with. All right, you trying to, destroy a country by way of destroying their economy. All right, because you can control, the dollar. All right, you have control over the dollar, which means that you have control over the bank accounts that the dollars are in. You have something called the SWIFT payment system, which is a system that transfers money, or rather credits. Because if, you're in Russia, and I'm in America, and I wanted to send money to you in regards to import and export, I don't have to, get a boat full of billions of dollars and send it to you. All right. All we have to do is transfer those zeros and ones through a SWIFT system. Well, this particular country is in control of that. So if a nation does not comply with its ways, all right, then what they do is they shut off that system, or shut off their access to that system, or they freeze the bank account. All right, or they stop certain nations from being able to trade, all right, and bargain or do whatever with that particular nation. And these nations are growing fed up with that. All right, they're angry. All right, because they no longer want to accept your way of life. Hey, look at Russia. All right, they're teaching their men to be more manlier. Look at China. They're teaching their men to be more manlier. And they're putting off or vomiting up, rather, all right, that wine that they drunk down of this whore, man. All right, that concoction, all right, that had them completely inflamed for a moment, all right, in which they enjoyed because they were able to become rich. But now they no longer care about those riches anymore. All right, they no longer care about, getting wealthy off of this nation anymore. And this is all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because he's stirring these nations up, all right, to ultimately bring judgment upon you, all right, via thermonuclear destruction. Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, which the final plague is thermonuclear destruction. And the elect of the nation of Israel will be taken out of this place by way of chariots, the chariots of salvation, which the world ignorantly calls UFOs or IFOs or UAPs, unknown aerial phenomena. They're coming for a dual purpose, which is to destroy the wicked and to redeem the elect of the nation of Israel. For her sins have reached up into heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she hath rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh power who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. But these particular kings, that were made rich off of this place are going to be, the same nations that is sending the fire, and that thermonuclear destruction over to this place. So they're not going to really mourn, over this place. There's not going to be anybody that's actually crying, in regards to these other nations. But basically, they would rather bring this place to the ground, than to make another cent off of this place. All right, because they're fed up to that point. All right, and they're angry to that point. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that in the works. All right, you're seeing these nations cut ties with this place, all right, and reduce the reserve currency, or the debt that they own of this place. Just to read a little bit of this article, it says the share of Russian exports settled in U.S. dollars has dropped below 50%. The decline recorded in the fourth quarter of 2020 reflects Moscow policy of cutting the Russian economy's reliance on the greenback. A significant portion of the unprecedented drop in the use of U.S. currency was recorded in trade with China, according to the data revealed by Russia's central bank on Monday. More than 3/4 of the trade turnover between the countries are now transacted in euro. The euro share in Russia's total export jumped more than 10 percentage points to 36%, the data shows. In recent years, Russia and China have decreased dollar transactions and trade in favor of settlements in national currencies. In January, the Russian embassy in China reported that Moscow and Beijing had managed to ramp up the share of settlements in national currencies to 25% over the previous 9 months, compared to a modest 2% recorded in 2014. Russia has also significantly cut its holdings of U.S. debt in recent years and invested in gold and the euro. And there's an article that comes up as well. Below this, it says Russia answers to U.S. sanctions is to make its economy more self-sufficient, analysts, show. So pretty much, you see the route in which things are going, in which this is biblical prophecy. And this proves who is the whore, or who is Babylon according to prophecy. Now, another thing that's going to happen, all right, because the reason that they were standing afar off is because within 1 hour, all it takes is for 30 minutes, for an ICBM missile with multiple warheads in it to leave its destination, all right, or the silo or the bow that it was shot from as an arrow within metaphor to reach over here. And there's going to be multiple of them that do it. All right. There's going to be multiple warheads that come from wherever destination is shot from all the way over to this region. All right. To fulfill the desire of Yahweh upon this place. When you go into Isaiah, the 13th chapter, it speaks about Russia in prophecy. And it says this. It says, Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because they don't care about making money with this place anymore. And there's no amount of money that you can give them to dissuade them. There's no amount of money that you can give them to change their mind, because the desire that's put inside of them and the way that they're going is of the Most High Heavenly Father. All right, he's putting it in their mind to return back to the state of hatred towards this place. The book of Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, and as a rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So just as he's doing right now with the Russians, all right, he's also doing it with many other nations as well. And they're going to shoot bows. And it says this in verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldee excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, when you go into ancient Babylon, it wasn't destroyed this way. All right, so this place would have to be, or this particular prophecy would have to deal with this country, which is spiritually known as Babylon. And why? Because it's a place that's causing confusion around the world. It's also a place that's trying to unite all of the nations under one order. It's also a place that is living after the manner of Sodom and Gomorrah. So it's going to receive that destruction, as well as being a nation that other nations send all of their goods to trade. But these nations are slowly becoming angry at this place, to the point where they no longer want to trade. They no longer want to use the currency, and they're in the mind of war. And eventually war will happen. So with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying. Call Yahweh Shai. Until the next time.